Resist CCP oppression!
Resist CCP oppression!
Resist CCP oppression!
Resist CCP oppression!
Free Tibet!
Free Tibet!
Free Hong Kong!
Free Hong Kong!
Free East Turkistan!
Free East Turkistan!
Free Vietnam!
Free Vietnam!
Stand with Taiwan!
Stand with Taiwan!
Free Myanmar!
Free Myanmar!
Hey, 共產黨8年歸西啊！
Okay, I think we're going to start our rally now. So, Sunny,
Sorry, I wanna.
maybe you can stand in front now, please.
Okay, I wanna say thanks everyone, and I wanna call Yuden La from SFT.
Yeah.
Hello. So before we start, I want to acknowledge that we are hosting this event on colonized lands. That is the traditional territory of numerous First Nations groups, including the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat peoples, and more recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit. As settlers, we have directly benefited from the ongoing colonization, genocide, and destruction of indigenous livelihood and culture. But also, as people who are resisting colonization and genocide from an authoritarian regime, we feel deep solidarity for the indigenous people and their struggle. Especially today, on Canada Day, we celebrate the resistance and strength of the First Nations, the Métis, and Inuit people of Canada. Thank you. Miigwech.
Now, let us have 1 minute silence to show our respect to the Indigenous children who die in the Canadian residential school.
All right, thank you guys. Now we're gonna do our Canadian national anthem.
Thank you very much for participating in our rally and also march today. Today, this event is organized by 20 civil organizations from 6 communities in Canada. Today, we are here to mark the 100 year of oppression. Today is the 100 year of founding of the CCP. And also the first anniversary of Hong Kong civil society being cracked down under the national security law of the CCP. Behind all these high-tech development in China is the dark side of human suppression. And we also see the crackdown, the absolute control of all dissidents who have been either made to disappear or declared to be insane. The CCP also poses a major threat to global democracies through its infiltration, manipulation, intimidation, as well as hostage diplomacy. As of today, our two Michaels have been held hostage by the CCP in its 30th month of arbitrary detention. It is time for Canada and also the world to finally recognize the true nature of the authoritarian regime of the Chinese Communist Party. Today, we stand in solidarity to show our support to the oppressed people in China as well as around the world. And we are also here to urge our Canadian government to show leadership on the world stage by taking a strong stance towards the CCP, sanctioning Chinese and Hong Kong officials violating human rights, as well as boycotting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games. Together, we will be strong. I'm Gloria from Canada, Hong Kong, and right beside me is Sunny from the Regional Tibetan Youth Congress. We are both the MCs of today's event. Maybe I will let Sunny to announce some of the housekeeping rules today.
Thanks, Gloria. So I just want to let's be safe. Social distancing for sure. Keep at least 6 feet, and please wear a mask. So please, okay? Thank you.
Today, our program rundown is as follows. We have altogether 6 communities right here. So we will have 3 speakers from 3 communities speaking at this Grange Park, and then followed by our march to the Chinese Consulate. And then when we arrive there, we will have another 3 representatives from the remaining 3 communities to speak to us. And so first of all, I would like to invite Moon from the Ryerson U Stands with Hong Kong. She is representing the Hong Kong Canadian community. Moon, please come over.
Hi everyone, my name is Moon, and I'm here on behalf of RU Stand with HK, a student group based in Ryerson University working to raise awareness about the pro-democracy movements in Hong Kong and surrounding territories. We gather here today to speak out against the oppressions committed by the CCP against its people, and more importantly, to immortalize the spirits of the victims of these oppressions. As a student-based group, we recognize the importance of accessible education and academic freedom, both of which has been deprived of the CCP to its citizens. I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on free but settlers' land, and we are very fortunate to enjoy the kinds of freedoms that the CCP has denied its people. As further revelations of the atrocities of residential schools are being uncovered throughout Canada, it is impossible for us to ignore the similarities of these systematic schools and the ethnic genocide being committed against minority groups all throughout China as we speak. This is a war that is not far from us. We stand here today and we mourn for the victims of Canada's cultural genocide, and we must fight for the victims that are suffering in China as well. Canada Day, similar to the CCP anniversary, is not a day for celebration. Rather, it is a day for mourning, for activism, and for a call for all of us to do better. This is a day for us to share our voices with the oppressed, and for us to reflect as a community how and why we should always try to do better. I am grateful for my home. I am proud to be a Hong Konger and a Canadian, but I am not proud of our governments. And it is because of my love for my homes that enables me to stand here today and ask for your help in making these places better than they were yesterday. As constituents of the Canadian government, I urge us all to further educate ourselves and to understand the transnational relationships that Canada shares with China, and to reach out to our local government representatives to enforce sanctions against the Chinese government, such as the boycotting of the Beijing 2022 Olympics. As settlers, we share a worldview that is adapting, tolerant, and most importantly, courageous enough to speak up for our brothers and sisters that are not fortunate enough to do so. It is within our duties to stand up for the oppressed, to lend voices to the silenced, and to lift up the prosecuted. Thank you.
Thank you, Moon. And I want to welcome Yujin La from SFT representing Tibetan community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Today marks 100 years of the Chinese Communist Party. Over 100 years since a failed revolution which led to 100 years of oppression, which led to the atrocities of the Cultural Revolution, to the Tiananmen Square massacre, to the brutal occupation of Tibet, the genocide in East Turkistan, and the dismantling of the rule of law in Hong Kong, all under the Chinese Communist Party's authoritarian rule. We certainly do not celebrate the founding of the CCP, but we do celebrate 100 years of resistance, 100 years of solidarity, and 100 years of hope. Your presence here, and the ongoing calls for freedom and rule of law from our brothers and sisters who are currently in occupied lands prove our movements are alive and well, that we will not give up until the dismantling of the Chinese Communist Party's draconian policies. Actually, until the dismantling of the Chinese Communist Party itself, and most importantly, until all of our people live in free and democratic society. I want to highlight that we have an ongoing campaign to boycott the Beijing Olympics. An authoritarian regime like China does not deserve a second chance to host the Olympics. We will continue to pressure our government, the Canada Olympic Committee, and corporate sponsors like Snickers and Airbnb to completely boycott the Beijing Olympics and not be complicit in sports washing CCP's heinous crimes against humanity. Free Tibet!
Free Tibet!
Free Hong Kong!
Free Hong Kong!
Free East Turkestan!
Free East Turkestan!
Free Southern Mongolia!
Free Southern Mongolia!
Stand with Taiwan!
Stand with Taiwan!
Free Vietnam!
Free Vietnam!
Free Myanmar!
Free Myanmar!
Thank you very much.
Free China too. There's many Chinese somewhere there.
Democracy in China!
Free China!
Yeah, so thank you very much, Yuden. Next, we will have Tarim from the East Turkestan Association of Canada, and he's representing the Uyghur Canadian community.
Hello. First, I want to thank you all for coming this Canada Day. As you may know, today, July 21st, marks the start of 100 years of oppression since the founding of the Chinese Communist Party. While the CCP celebrates the creation of their brutal regime, it is important that we stand together against their oppression and not forget the millions of Uyghurs, Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Vietnamese, Southern Mongolian, as well as democracy-seeking Chinese people that have been beaten, tortured, jailed, and killed by the CCP's reign of terror over the 100 years since being created. As you may know, the CCP's genocide of Uyghurs in East Turkestan has left us with over 3 million in concentration camps, tortured, beaten, and killed, as well as systematically trying to wipe out our culture and religion. That is why I am pleased that we are joined by our brothers and sisters from different backgrounds today. While we may speak different languages and have different cultures, we all share in the same struggle, which is what unifies us as a coalition. And together we must make our voices heard by the world. as we cannot stand any longer while our people are robbed of their basic human rights. Martin Luther King once said, "Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." And that's what we must continue to do in order to get Canada and the rest of the world to take action against the CCP's inhumane policies. Thank you for listening. Freedom for East Turkistan!
Freedom for East Turkestan!
Freedom for Tibet!
Freedom for Tibet!
Freedom for Hong Kong!
Freedom for Hong Kong!
Freedom for Southern Mongolia!
Freedom for Southern Mongolia!
Democracy for China! Freedom for Vietnam! Freedom for Myanmar! Stand with Taiwan! Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we are going to start our march to the Chinese Consulate.